Hi, I'm Melissa.
And I'm Jesse.
Welcome to the Reimagine Success Podcast. We're a husband and wife team who want to make a difference and change the way we all view success.
We've had the privilege of interviewing so many amazing, talented, and successful guests. Each one of them experienced success in their own way.
We want to change how society views success by inspiring you to live your best life and celebrate your successes no matter what that looks like, big and small.
Success looks so different for everyone, and we want you to reimagine your success. Welcome to Season 2 of
Reimagine Success. Welcome back to Season 2 of Reimagine Success.
We've had so many amazing speakers and guests already this season, and today is going to be just as great, and we'll get to that in just a moment.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Season 2 has really kicked off with a bang.
Yeah, and we're just really excited about everything that's happening in life right now. We're just coming out of MomoCon, which was unbelievably awesome.
Oh, yeah. Such a great weekend.
Melissa just straight killed it as Deadly Crimson, promoting the book, and just got to meet so many great people. So today we are unbelievably excited to have our brand new member of the team, Lyric Chiles. Lyric is a recent graduate of Valdosta State University, where she earned her BFA in Mass Media Studies. She has a passion for the production process and loves to show her creativity through videography and art. Her ride through college was not easy, but with self-dedication, manifestation, and love from her family, she not only graduated, but grew academically, mentally, and spiritually. She's now working as the executive assistant for Creative Global Entertainment and the Reimagine Success podcast. Woo, Lyric.
Welcome.
Hey guys.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is awesome. It's fun to finally be on the other side. Usually I'm in the background somewhere quietly listening. Creepy as that sounds, but it's awesome to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's so cool. Lyric's been sitting in on some of our interviews since she started with us, and she's just been doing such a great job. But Lyric, why don't you go and start by kind of telling everybody your story and, a little bit about yourself and your life and what led you to this point.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, like Jesse said, my name's Lyric Chiles. I'm 23, just graduated college with my BFA. I didn't ever think that I would be where I'm at right now, but then again, who really plans out their life like that?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So mass media was never something I necessarily thought about when I was a kid, but, I loved movies. I grew up around music, like chaotically, my dad loves music. There's always something going on that included music. Like I was a child being dragged band practice, that was my life. And it was a good life to live. My childhood was great. I was definitely a daddy's girl. My parents are divorced. So I come from a divorced family, which honestly, I wouldn't change just because I kind of have like best of both worlds. I have multiple parents, like stepmom, stepdad. So it's like a great time. The family's bigger. So like, I was a happy child, happy girl. High school kind of sucked. No one really likes high school.
No one does.
Yeah, really. But college is where, my life changed. Like I definitely figured out who Lyric was, what she liked, what she didn't like, things that she was passionate for. So that's just kind of like where I'm at right now. I'm definitely still learning like things about myself. And I like just knowing who I am right now, I don't think like I'll ever stop learning things about myself just because like I want to continue to grow until the day I die, like that's just how I prefer to live, like I never like to stay in one spot, I just am on the go kind of person. So that's me.
And that's a great attitude to have because we all are on a journey through our entire life. So it's all about learning and growing basically every single day.
Right.
So that's why we love having you on our team, because you have the same mindset as us.
Mhm.
And we just love everything that you have done so far. Like, Lyric is amazing. She has a go-to attitude, and every single day she just impresses us with everything that she's learning and how fast she's learning and growing. She's already editing podcasts. I mean, she's just so talented.
Yep, she was with us at MomoCon, just killing it, being personable with the people that were coming up to the booth, and it's been really cool to watch you kind of step into your role with us. It's been awesome.
Yeah, literally. Thanks. I mean, like, I have no complaints. It's literally the best internship company like I could start with. Like, it's great vibes. I have great teachers. My questions get answered quickly. I'm always learning something, like you said. It's just, I honestly love it here. So
Oh,
thanks for having me. Yeah.
Of course. We couldn't do it without you. You train us every single day.
I love that.
So, you study mass media in college. What has been your favorite category to work in so far?
So yeah, that's a great question. So, I think it's this course I took my junior year. It was called Diversity and Inclusion in Media.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Dr. Cox if you're listening. What's up? Yeah, it was a great course. I learned about increasing diversity and equity and inclusion, like in media and the entertainment industry, and like the right way to do it. And also, like, doing it the right way can also increase like profits, as well.
Mm-hmm.
We learned about, like stereotypes in media. I feel like a lot of people watch media and kind of like things go over their head, and they don't really pick up on the negative stereotypes that media can be like portraying, and not only like TV and film, but like advertisements too,
Mm-hmm.
We also learned about like gender, sexuality, and like how those also need to be properly like shown, on film and ads. And one of my like favorite things that we learned about that I had no idea like existed, and like I still apply these like to this day, like if I'm watching something or something like that, there's I think it's called the Villa-Lobos test. There's a lot of tests that you can apply to these kind of films, but this one specifically is like for Latino women. If you're watching something, you can apply this test, and the test is basically looking for there's Latina characters who speak unaccented English and are not sexualized.
Mm-hmm.
Those are like stereotypes of Latino women. So just like stuff like that, it applies to like the tests they have like all sorts of tests, for African American men, Caucasian women, the list goes on. So it's just really cool to see stuff like that and learn about it like the proper way to go about it, just because I think that's really important for me to learn, just because, if I'm going to be hopefully like a future face of media, like I want to know how to properly represent everybody like the proper way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's so important.
Yeah, we're really passionate about equality and diversity, and just seeing people represented and being allies to people. One of the podcasts that we are actually producing that just came out is called Authentic Points of View. And on that podcast, our great friend Danielle, you know her from our podcast as Danielle Stroman, but she's now going by Danielle
Episode 3
Boer.
in our first season.
Yep. Danielle Boer, she's bringing different people on from different walks of life, all different walks of life, and really talking about their different points of view and getting an authentic look at that. And it's really important that people are represented, because unfortunately in media, it's very not that way.
Right. Yeah. Because everybody has their own voice and their own stories. So, the reason that we love her podcast so much is because she's going to have different points of view from this same exact thing. So, you know, someone that goes to college, gets a job, might look completely different than someone else that goes to college and gets a job, just because different races, different nationalities, and different backgrounds. And she is going to represent everyone in different ways and give everyone's points of view. And it's going to be an amazing podcast. I hope you guys check it out. June 1st is when it launches. So we will have all the details for you guys.
Yeah. So now back to college, Lyric. Was college hard? Was it a struggle for you? What did that look like? Tell us about your college experience.
Yeah, I mean, so I started college in 2017, you know, back when the pandemic was not a thing. Life was kind of like normal as we knew it. And I went in as a freshman, honestly, not thinking straight, you know, like I'm like excited to be there, you know, like I'm 6 hours away from home. I'm like, now is my time to, you know, do whatever the heck I want to do. And so like, that's what I did. And, you know, like I had a lot of good memories. I made like lifelong friends. I met two girls, Shannon and Riley. They're like my two best friends. We're still very great friends. I know they're going to be with me till the end. They're going to be my bridesmaids. It's going to be awesome.
Oh,
So I'm happy that they came out of this experience for me. But, you know, freshman year was all right, but you know, things really hit the ceiling for me. You know, when school ended that freshman year, I realized, you know, like my grades weren't where they needed to be. You know, I kind of had like a reality check, and you know, my parents were super upset. You know, my grades were honestly trash. Because I didn't do what I needed to do, you know, like instead of going to class, I was like, let's go get smoothies, just stupid stuff, you know, like 18, 19-year-old mentality of like, let's just do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it, you know. And I didn't learn much of anything that year, but eventually, you know, my grades were bad, like I said. So I did, you know, I failed out of school freshman year, had to go home, tell my dad about it. And it was bad. He, you know, he was upset initially. I mean, why wouldn't he be? But I had to learn a really, really important lesson of like, you have to be responsible. And you know, I don't think you really learn that lesson in high school. I think you're kind of like drifted along in high school. And I just had that deep reality check, my dad and me. My dad, honestly, he's my rock through this whole thing. He helped me get back in school. He helped my GPA get to back to where it was. He like motivated me like crazy, just because like, you know, when I failed out, I mentally like was down bad, you know, like I was so depressed. I didn't think like I was worth much of anything. I didn't think I could do, you know, I didn't think I'd graduate. I was like, man, like I'm already behind. How am I going to play catch up? Like all my friends are going to graduate without me. And I was like in a pretty bad place, and I had to sit out for a semester and watch everyone else live their life while I had to like, you know, sit at home and catch up on like my computer through like this community college. And I'm glad I did, you know, just because I don't think like I would have the mentality and ethic that I have now without hitting rock bottom, you know. So, you know, I finally came back into school, and I had to work my GPA back up to get accepted again. And that was pretty tough, but you know, I did it. And it took me some time. I think it took me about 2 semesters to get back to where my GPA was where it should be. And I was like allowed back into college. So I came back into college, and man, like I hit the ground running. Like my dad as well. Like there would be nights where I would be like on FaceTime with him, and we'd both be like studying like together. Like I would send him my biology test and my rubrics and all that stuff, and I'd send it to him, and he would go through my biology slides and study with me. And he was honestly so awesome. Yeah, and it was sweet. We'd cry together about biology and math and all that crazy stuff. And eventually my grades got better. I turned from like a F student to like a D to a C. And then I became like an AB student. In this last semester, I have all A's. And I really made
Woo!
I really turned around, and like I can't even tell you. I think my GPA is at a 3.8 now, and when I failed out,
Wow.
it was a 1.4 when I failed out.
Wow.
So
And that's hard to bring it up that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. So great job. That just shows determination, girl. Determination.
Mm-hmm.
it was a hard ride, but I often think about like I honestly do not think I would change like a lick of it. Like I really don't, like, because I honestly don't think like I'd be as hard of a worker, like I said, if I didn't like hit the rock bottom, So it was tough, but worth it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times when you do hit a rock bottom, it makes you like fight for it that much more and realize that, hey, whoa, everything's not going to be given to me. I have to work really hard and be focused and determined to get where I want to be in life.
And the fact that you were able to push through and have the tenacity to actually bring it up as much as you did,
Yeah.
that's so huge, because a lot of people would be like, well, I barely, got back in. I'm just going to push, but I'm just going to stay in. Like, I'm just going to do what it takes to stay in. Like, I don't have what it takes to make it all the way. So I'm just going to do the bare minimum and stay in, but you're like, no, forget that. I'm going to excel. I'm going to succeed. I'm going to get all A's. And now you've graduated and you're crushing it. So like, that's such a cool story of turning it around.
Yeah, no, it's just honestly, like, I can't even like really explain the whole process. It was just so crazy. And, like, if my dad's listening, love you, Dad. Like, honestly, couldn't do it without Shannon Chiles. Mr. Shannon Chiles was the man, yeah, like I deserve those A's. I did it, but like there would be times like I said, like I would call him crying, crying and being like, man, this is so hard. And he'd be like, Lyric, like you are Lyric Chiles, like you have to do it. I'm like, yeah. And so it's just, yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
I'll just throw in here that I actually, years and years and years ago, when Lyric was just a small child, I used to be very good friends with her father. We were in a band together, and that's actually how I was introduced to Lyric. And then, decades went by. Well, maybe not decades, but close to it. Close to 2 decades went by since I saw her last. And then her dad reached out to me, and that's how we were able to make this connection with her. And it's been so cool kind of seeing like those relationships come full circle. And I will just echo what Lyric is saying. Shannon Chiles is the man. He's just such a great guy who will do anything for anybody and just has such a big heart. And it's so cool to hear how, like you look back at that time and you're like, my dad helped me and he was the rock for me. And that's such a great testament to his character and how he raised you as well.
Yeah, no, like I said, I come from divorced parents, and when my parents split, I was only one. And so, sister went with mom, I went with dad, and man, for a while there, it was just me and dad, and he often says like that we both are like the only constant in each other's life. And I like that really goes far with me, just because like that's so true. Like things come and go, but he's always there. I'm always there. So yeah.
Oh
yeah, I know. I know. He's gonna listen to this and be like, oh man.
He's gonna be crying listening to the podcast driving down the road.
That's amazing. I'm going to ask you a question, and feel free to think about it for a second. But when you were in high school, was there anything that could have prepared you a little bit better for college, that would have given you that mindset to say, hey, I'm going to go for it. I'm not going to go out and party with my friends. Is there anything you think that anyone could have said, or anything that you could have done, or any classes you could have taken in order to kind of propel you into college?
That's a great question. I feel like yes, my initial answer would be like yes, but then again, I'm thinking just because of how hard-headed I was, like even if there was some kind of course or some kind of extra help, would I really apply it just
Right.
because Like I'm so young at that time. And most kids honestly don't really care, unless you're just, that special egg out of the group. But, I think they should have something for sure. Like
Yeah.
maybe apply attendance a little harder, just because I think that's what really did me in college is I just didn't go because I didn't have to.
That's the classes I did the worst in college. There's the ones that I didn't have to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like and I mean, I get it. They're like, you're grown, you don't have to come if you don't want to. And I get it, like you should apply yourself. So I don't know. I think it's a double-edged sword for sure. So
Right.
yeah.
And the reason I ask that is because I feel like that there should be some kind of transition, something for classes or courses or counseling, I don't know, something that can really transition students from high school to college, because that is a really tough transition, because not only are you going to college, but most of the time you're going out on your own for the first time ever. You're leaving the parents' house, you have friends, you have a car, it is actually fun. So I know for our kids, we actually recommend a year just to go abroad, go, travel, go do something for a year, kind of learn yourself, learn who you are, and then come back, go to college, and then go to work. Like if you felt like if you did something like that, do you feel like when you came back and you went into college, do you feel like you would have been like, okay, I'm ready, let's go?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that would have helped me for sure. I think that's a great idea. You also mentioned counseling. I think that would probably also be a great idea.
Yeah.
Just because, I went in and I kind of went buck wild, and I honestly, there was times that I was also scared. Like I didn't know what, like what I'm supposed to be doing here. Like I'm like, where am I? Where's my parents? Like, how am I supposed to eat? Yeah, so,
pizza again for breakfast.
yeah, literally, or but
Easy Mac was my go-to. I had Easy Mac all the time.
Oh, mine was potatoes. I had mashed potatoes all the time.
instant anything.
Whatever you could put in the microwave, that was where it was. That Easy Mac cup of soup, because you couldn't do ramen because you needed a stove to actually cook it, so we would just get the cup of soup bowls or cups and microwave those.
Right.
It was great.
Yeah, actually, funny story, my roommate, so we each I like lived in a dorm. It was an okay time, but I lived in a dorm with this other girl, a total stranger. I didn't even know her. But we each had microwaves, and her microwave actually exploded in our dorm, like at like 3 a.m, and like I hear like a boom. It was like, it wasn't huge, but it was like, so I knew something just freaking exploded. Like, what was that? And I wake up and I'm like, her door is locked, and I'm thinking she like died or something. I'm like, hello, like let me in. Like, what was that? I like smell the smoke, and she like opens it, and she's like, sorry, my microwave exploded. I was just hungry. I'm not sure why it exploded. And I was like, what is going? I'm like
she probably had some tinfoil in there or something,
right? Or a fork.
A fork.
Yeah, I think she had put a fork in there or something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, that's the thing though. Like, high school fails our youth. It honestly does. Like, it doesn't even teach you enough life skills to not put a fork in the microwave.
Like, I did honestly. Okay, first off, I didn't know that either. And I didn't even know that I was supposed to clean the hair out of my drain, and my first apartment ever, got stopped up, and I was like, oh, learn that trick very quickly to remove the hair out of the drain.
Yeah. Like, why is high school not teaching people this kind of simple, basic adult stuff? Yet we're required to learn algebra and calculus and biology and chemistry. Like, it's stuff that isn't gonna really help. Like, okay, maybe that stuff's important if you want to do something in that field.
You want to be a doctor.
That's
you want to be a scientist.
We should learn that.
Yes.
But also add the stuff that matters.
Right.
Why is our education system so bad?
Yeah.
I think like in high school, honestly, I wish we had like some kind of like self improvement class.
Mhm.
I think that would have gone a long way. Maybe something to do with taxes. Just
Yeah.
'cause honestly,
Financing, checkbooks,
yeah, like
checking
I didn't
account,
understand
savings.
like I'll be honest with you, I did not understand like taxes maybe until like 2 months ago. Like I was like, yeah, it's weird. I wish I learned something, like savings or things like
Mhm.
that. Sure.
It'd be cool to do like a self-improvement class in school where
Yeah.
like they teach you how to have high self-esteem
Yeah.
or like how to be confident,
Mhm.
like stuff.
Learn to breathe, learn to take care of yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
meditate,
Mhm.
whatever like your thing is that you use to cope with life, which everybody needs something to cope with life. They
Mhm.
should be teaching that in school.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
why is it that all that stuff is just glossed over and they just throw kids out into the world, say, hey, go to college and succeed? Obviously, you're
Yeah.
going to go wild and, party more than you go to class because you've been like cooped up and under all these rules and regulations. And now you get this taste of freedom. I think that's why years ago they used to let people go sow their wild oats, as they called it. And, take a couple of years, go out and live out in the world and then come back and then like try to make a life for yourself.
Right. So, like, what was the hardest part in school during the pandemic? Because I know that you were in school in 2020 when everything was shut down and school was remote. So, how challenging was that time?
Especially as a media major. Goodness.
Right.
I literally, yeah. So I remember everything vividly. Like I remember before COVID hit, like when we would hear rumors and there was like memes circulating about like COVID, who cares? And I remember I was in a like an editing course and we were all like just hanging out, like nobody was really working. We were just kind of talking amongst each other. And my teacher's like, hey guys, like I just want to let you know, like there's circulation that we might be going online. And everyone's like, psh, like whatever. And we're like, who cares? Like that's not even possible. Like how do you even comprehend that? And like then I remember like boom, we were online and it was kind of it was kind of goofy at first, like nobody cared. It's honestly a little sad. I did feel really bad for my professors just because we'd get on Zoom or Microsoft Teams was a big one. And they'd be like, all right, guys, turn on your cameras. Let's participate. And everyone would kind of be like, forget that, like I'm not freaking doing that. And it's not like you can make someone turn on their camera. It was just, the participation lacked like crazy. Like I bet, kids were just turning off their cameras, maybe doing something else, cooking or watching TV, like who cares, It was that kind of mentality. It was really sad. And I remember I took a course, I think it was production 2, which is kind of like a field course. Like you go out in the world and you make productions,
How do you do that during a pandemic?
it was crazy. Honestly, I didn't production 2 over my head because I honestly did not really pick up much from production 2.
Now we know what we need to train you on, Lyric.
So do you feel like you were robbed of that experience then? Because like that's something that you need to know those things going into a production career. And now you didn't get that because you were forced to be online. Like, how's that feel for you?
Honestly, so at Valdosta State, if you're a media major, you take 3 big level or 4 big level production classes: production 1, production 2, production 3, and then your media capstone. And the only one I had to take online was production 2. So when I jumped into production 3 last year, it was awful just because production 3 was in person and I totally missed everything, all the requirements and obligations for production 2. So when I got into production 3, literally my teacher was like, Lyric, where have you been? And I was like, dude, I've been online. Like,
yeah,
what do you mean? Like, I've been trying. And it was really hard to pick up the materials online, like so hard, especially like you said with media. Like we were expected to go out and like one time I had to make a 9/11 documentary, like a short documentary for production too. And I was like, how am I supposed to, and they expected me to like go out into the world and like interview people. And I'm like, dude, no one wants to talk, no one wants to meet up. And it's just, I don't know. I think everyone was also like the professors in the school were also kind of overwhelmed. So I'm not too upset just because I know no one really knew what to do. So, and I mean, when the pandemic rush was over and we all kind of like went back into person, I did have to play catch up. I wasn't expected to play catch up. It was like catch up if you want to, apply yourself if you want to. So I had to do that for myself. So that's what I had to do. I do definitely feel robbed. It was a wacky experience. And I would not do it again.
I bet. I mean, just that entire experience alone, like, Jesse said, it honestly does rob you of that experience. And it robs you of everything that you need to know moving forward whenever you go out into the workplace. Yeah. So, I mean, being in a pandemic is challenging enough. Plus, you've lost everything that you were supposed to learn during that time. So I know for sure that can be definitely a lot of challenge. And moving forward now, you have grown into such a wonderful, wonderful, human and woman, and made such a big, huge change in your life. And now, you are working for Creative Global Entertainment, and you're working for Reimagine Success, and you're pretty much on your way to being a podcast producer. So how does that feel now that you have graduated and, you are going toward all of your goals and dreams? And what does your goals and dreams look like in about 5 years? Where do you see yourself going?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, my goals have like tremendously changed. Like I feel like in college, my main goal was to like, survive. Yeah, to strictly survive, make A's, sleep good at night, just honestly try until like I made it. I feel like my goal now is like not only to survive, but like to survive with like a skill that's like so good I can do it with my eyes closed. Like I never want to stop learning. I think the greatest thing about media is like, it's like kind of like never ending. Like wake up, you create, you go to sleep if you can, like if you can turn your mind off, and then you wake up, you create again, like, and it's like always different. So I think that like I love that. I think that's why I did media, and I think like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure you guys feel the same way, but like, I just never stop thinking. Like I'll have random ideas at like the randomest times, and I'm like, man, like how can I make that happen? And I'm like thinking, well, I could do this or I could do this, and that's just how my mind works. But
and that's why you fit in great with us.
Yeah. I mean, we're all like that. Our creative minds are going nonstop all the time. And I know sometimes we text you kind of late at night at like 8 p.m. and we're like, hey, just real quick, you can answer tomorrow. Just wanted to get this out there while we're thinking about it, because that's how our minds work as well. So Lyric works definitely fits right into the team.
Yeah. We constantly, our phones are just full of notes after notes after notes of random ideas that we have. And some of them we'll pursue, some of them we won't, but we write down everything and we talk about everything. And we just are always putting stuff out there because as creatives, that's how inspiration starts. It might start from some crazy random idea and you start talking about it. And then it kind of, it
has a mind of its own.
Yeah. And it grows and it changes and it evolves into an actual idea that makes sense, not just some cuckoo crazy thing that you thought of in the middle of the night.
Well, I mean, we always say, ask questions, make comments, make suggestions. No comment, question, suggestion is stupid. Nothing. Like we always are, we're outside of the box thinkers anyway. So it's like, oh, you said an outside of the box idea. Maybe that could work if we do this instead, and we all work together and we make it streamlined and something that a lot of companies would be like, oh, that's stupid, let's move on. We're like, hey, wait, actually, let's think about that a little bit and let's grow this and see where it can go. And if it doesn't go anywhere, that's fine.
Yeah.
We, wasted maybe 10, 15 minutes to think about an idea. And, later on, it might come back up and we're like, oh, hey, you know how you said that idea 3 months ago? Now we could actually do it this way. And that you always have something in your head and you always have something. So that's why we are so focused on nothing is stupid. No comment. Don't hold anything back. Just talk to us, communicate.
Yeah. Even if 98% of the idea is trash, if 2% is something that can push the company forward or make a difference in somebody's life, then we're going to take that 2% and run with it and just adjust the other 98%.
Right.
Yeah. And so where would you say that, what's your most valuable lessons that you've learned since you've entered into the workforce?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I definitely learned this in college, kind of, but I definitely am learning just how important it is in the workforce to like pre-plan. Like, that's so valuable. But I feel like with media, man, it's valuable because we have so much going on. It's like, oh, like I'm working on this this podcast, but I'm also working on A, B, C, and D. And I got to make it all happen like in this one time. So like pre-planning is like my best friend, like color coding, gotta have it. Calendar, gotta have it, So pre-planning, very valuable lesson. Also, I think like another lesson I learned, I think like coming out of college, most students feel like a sense of intimidation, like we're not equal to our employers. I think obviously that's invalid. I've come to learn that like, especially with you guys, like we have the same interests. We're both like, we're all three regular people. You guys enjoy like the same things I enjoy. There's nothing spooky or scary. And, we're all equals. We all have great skills. We all bring to the table. So I think like a valuable lesson I've learned is to, like speak up if you need to speak up, like if I need help, like if I need help with a task or I have too much on my plate, you guys often tell me, like Lyric, speak up and like if you need help or if you have too much going on, like please let us know. And like I do. And I think that's really valuable, like not to be spooked, we're all equals. So yeah. I think that's definitely a lesson I've learned like in the workforce.
Yeah, definitely. When I was your age, I was run over a lot because I didn't speak up. My boss would tell me something and I'd, yes, sir. It's job security. You either say yes, sir, or I quit. That was what I was told so many times. And like so many people enter into the workforce feeling this pressure of they have to just kill themselves for the job instead of like enjoying their life and actually taking time for themselves and doing things that matter in this world. And so it's really cool that you're getting to learn that at such a young age and getting into the workforce so early on and realizing that it's okay for me to use my voice. It's okay to speak up and say when I'm overloaded and taking care of your own mental health and stuff like that.
I was just going to say media is all over the place anyway. There's a lot of times where you may be working at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night doing a podcast, but, in a job that appreciates and respects your time, like we are not expecting you to work 9 to 5 and then turn around and record a podcast at 8 p.m. and edit it and everything else. Like we want work-life balance. And, that's why it's so important. And we talk about that all the time because we want you to know that moving forward, whether you stay with us and you grow, which I believe that that's going to happen. But, or you go to anywhere else in your career and you grow and move on. Like that is one thing that we always want you to know, that you are valuable and your time needs to be respected. And 9 to 5 doesn't always apply to every single job, but a work-life balance does always apply.
Exactly. And for our listeners, like this doesn't just apply to Lyric. If you're in a job where they don't respect you and they don't take care of your work-life balance and they expect you to work nonstop all day, every day, might be time to start putting some feelers out there for something else, because you can't sustain that kind of lifestyle. You shouldn't sustain that kind of lifestyle. Life is too precious. Your time is too valuable. You are too valuable to be treated like that by somebody else. It's not even for you. Now, if you're building your own business and you're working around the clock, making sacrifices to make something happen for yourself, okay, do what it takes, still have a work-life balance. Don't get too crazy.
And don't forget about your health.
But like, to do that for somebody else where they're making $1 million and you're making like $20,000-$30,000 a year, like, that's ridiculous. Like, just don't do it.
Yeah, like I hate the mentality of like, we pay to go to school, we get out of school, and then we pay all our debts off, work, and then we die. Like, that's
right.
an awful mentality. Like, no, like I want to travel. I want to do whatever I want in that moment, and you should. So.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's our mindset.
And that's what we're building. That's exactly what we're building.
Yeah. So you are a very artistic and creative person. You've do music, media. Well, you in college, you did music, media, podcasting, you do art, you do all this really cool stuff. What do you find to be your most passionate area of working on stuff? And what kind of passion projects are you working on currently, if any?
So this is such a loaded question, because I feel like I have so many like things I love to do, which is a great problem to have. But I really love the pre-production phases and the production phases. So I think that's where my passions lay. And honestly, Melissa, I didn't even answer your question about where I see myself in 5 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's so let me just say that real quick. I think it's like I said, some kind of field of production, rather that's like with podcasting or film or music. I dabble in all of it. In college and at Creative Global, I dabble. So I think honestly, and like we said, like I would love to end up, wherever I do end up, forever, whatever might happen to me. I just hope it's like with people who, like you said, who respect me. But things I like to work on in my free time, I've written a few scripts. I am working on a script right now, just kind of like in my free time. I've been working on it for like a long time. I started it sometime in 21, and then I totally just left it alone because school got in the way. And so now I'm just kind of like picking it back up. I'm really excited about it. It's not anywhere near done. I'm kind of like drawing it out, but psychological thriller. It's about a man who struggles with schizophrenia. And it's kind of loosely based on a friend of mine who has schizophrenia. So me and him kind of collaborated together on like his experiences. So I could like give a good representation of his experience, because I have no experience with that kind of mental illness. So
yeah.
It was really great to have him on board as well, like leading me in the right directions. So I could like represent that how he thought I should represent it. But it's about a man with schizophrenia, and he hears like a female voice in his head of like her own inner thoughts. But like things hit the fan like in the script when he thinks he meets the woman in real life. And then him and this woman have to like figure out what is going on. So that's kind of like the script without giving it away too much. But I'm really excited. It's been really fun to work on. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now.
That's awesome. And, speaking of schizophrenia, I know I haven't really talked about this at all, actually, on the podcast.
Yeah, no.
But my birth mother had schizophrenia, and she ran away with me when I was born, up until I was about 3 years old, almost 4. And I lived this crazy life where I was going from homeless shelter to homeless shelter as a newborn. I was in, really terrible situations and housing situations until finally social services came in and, was able to remove me from the house. But up until then and my entire life, I've had a semi relationship with her. So if you have any questions from a person who has dealt with a schizophrenic, most of my life, I can definitely help you out with that as well.
Okay, yeah, awesome. Okay, yeah. If I have any questions, and I definitely will, but obviously I can't even think about them right now. But yeah, I definitely will have some questions for sure.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, we probably don't want to do a Q&A on the podcast about schizophrenia.
Yeah. No, just and also putting that out there for our listeners that, we all have challenges in our life from, childhood, and all of those stories and situations that you go through, you need to talk about and communicate and let everyone know, because they may need to know something, just like Lyric, where, she's writing this story and, I have that situation and I can help her. So, share your stories, share your experiences, and share your past experiences.
Yes, creativity often draws best from personal experience. And if you can, utilize that to your advantage and utilize other people's personal experience. I do that a lot with songwriting. One of the songs off my last record is called Gravity, and it's about someone who's in love with somebody that has dementia and is losing their mind, and the struggle of that, and watching somebody go through that, and how you just want to like bring them back to earth. And so for me, like, though I've never dealt with having, a spouse or a loved one with dementia, like I put myself in those situations and imagine what that could be like and see other people that have gone through that. And then I write from that perspective, because it just opens up a world of creativity when you take that personal experience. So like you were saying with your friend, that's so cool that you're sharing his story and putting it to light, and giving a voice to something that doesn't have a very strong voice.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been like a really fun experience, like not only like am I writing like an awesome story, but like I'm learning, like you said, like about like things I had no idea people struggle with, like when people think of like schizophrenia, they know like the basics, but man, like he goes into it and I'm like, wow, like like you're really strong for that, so
Yeah.
it's been great.
Well, it's time for my favorite part of the podcast. It's time to celebrate your successes. So, Lyric Chiles, what has been one of your most recent successes, big or small, that you want to celebrate on the podcast today?
Okay, yeah, for sure. I mean, I have a few, which is, like I said, great problem to have. Yeah, graduating, obviously, humongous for me, humongous. Landing
and at your GPA, don't forget to celebrate your GPA.
Right.
Yeah, my dad does not let me forget the GPA growth. But yeah, the GPA growth, graduating, landing this position at Creative Global Entertainment has been awesome for me, a blessing. So those are some big successes that has happened for me lately. Some small things. I learned how to change a tire the other day.
That's good.
That's good.
That's kind of big.
Did you have a flat and you needed to change it, or was it just something you learned?
No, it happened because I had a flat.
It's always necessity when you learn something like that. It's always necessity.
Yeah. So I think those are the main ones that are going for me right now.
All right, so we got to dive into this a little bit deeper, because I'm trying to get the mental picture. Were you by yourself and got a flat tire and had to change it on your own, or did you have somebody with you there walking you through it? How did you learn how to change a tire? Let's get the juicy details on this.
Yeah, for sure. So it happened maybe a month ago, and I was by myself. I had to FaceTime one of my guy friends and be like, dude, help me. Because honestly, I tried to call my dad, but my dad travels a lot for work, so he didn't answer. And I was like, holy crap, what am I going to do? I was like, he like, helps me with everything. So I'm like, you know what, this is my time to shine. Let me figure this out by myself. Try to figure it out by myself. And I was like, absolutely can't. So I'm like, I'm going to call one of my friends. He answers and he's like, okay. He has that. So I have a Jeep Wrangler. So it has like the tire on the back. So I call my friend who also has one, and he kind of like helps me through it. He's sending me a lot of YouTube videos. I'm like, oh my God. But finally, it took me, I think, like 3 hours. So like the Jeep kind of like comes with all the things that you need like in a secret compartment,
Mhm.
which I didn't know about until that day. So yeah, so I open it and it has like the crank in there, and so I'm like trying to crank it up, and that part was the easiest part, which honestly surprised me. But
You're
I
lucky it
didn't.
has a crank. I mean, a lot of them you have to like twist, and it's a real pain in the butt.
Yeah, no, it was kind of easy, that part at least. But I did like the hard part of it all was I did not know that like for the Jeeps you have to have like a special key to like get the
Lug nuts.
yeah, like I didn't know that what even is a lug nut, like like so, but eventually it got figured out. Would I do it again? No. But but it
At
was
least you know how to do it in the future.
yeah. Yeah, like if I was like deserted or something, but
Okay, so I have one more question. Were you on the side of the road when all of this happened?
yeah, I was like kind of right off like the exit, like near like the town I live. So I
Mhm.
was right off the exit because I was going to like the town over, to like do something or another. And I just was right there and my tire was like bumbling. I'm like, what the heck's going on? So I pull over like right in front of the exit esque, and yeah, it was flat as heck. And I was like, okay,
That's crazy because you were on the side of the road for 3 hours, 3 hours,
Insane.
and no one stopped and helped you. Like you were literally on the side of the road near the exit.
Is chivalry just dead now?
Yeah, 3 hours and no one stops and helps someone change a tire.
What is wrong with
Yeah.
this world?
Yeah, no one stopped. I was, like I said, like I tried to call my dad first.
Mhm.
Usually, like if this were to happen to me, we have like some kind of like insurance, like guy will come
Yeah,
out
like
and
AAA, something like that.
Yeah.
yeah. And so I couldn't figure out the information for that. So I was just like, now it's my time to shine, and no one stopped and helped. But I think everything does happen for a reason, and honestly, I'm not the greatest with like random strangers. So I mean, yeah, I would have liked someone to help me for sure, maybe. But then again, like, I don't know. It was kind of nice. Well, you know what? It wasn't nice, but it was nice now. It's nice now that I know how to do it.
Well, you
But
learned it. You learned it.
Yep.
Yes.
I'll never forget when I was a kid. One time my mom got a flat tire and my brother and I were in the car and we were really young, and she was like kind of stressed out, and these two gentlemen just pulled over on the side of the road, jumped out of the car, said, "Hey, we're going to help you out." And they just took over and changed it in like 2 minutes, got us back on the road. And like, I'll just never forget those guys doing that. It was such a like cool moment and taught me this is how humans should be.
Yeah, actually, I had a very similar experience to that. I had my very first car was a Beretta, very, very old. And I had a tire and I was on the side of the road and I was trying to get the tire out of the back of the trunk. And then someone stopped and helped and did it for me in like 2 seconds. And I mean, I was 16 years old. I was just a little youngin, and I said the same thing. This is how the world is supposed to work.
So moral of this story, if you see a young lady on the side of the road and you're a man who's capable of changing a tire, just help
stop.
them out. Come on.
yeah, the universe was really like, screw you, Lyric. Today's your day to learn.
Well, that's a great story. And I'm glad that you've learned how to do that.
Mhm.
All right. So now share with our listeners where they can find you. If they have questions about school or if they have questions about internship programs or finding a job, where can they reach out to you?
Yeah, for sure. So I have a LinkedIn, just Lyric Chiles. Chiles is Chiles, like Chiles. And then I have an Instagram. It is http.lyric with 4 C's. Okay. And then you can find some of my personal works on my YouTube channel. My YouTube is just lyric_Chiles. A lot of those works I did in college. So that's where they live on my YouTube. So yeah, you can follow me. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, whatever. For sure. Let's talk.
And if you can't remember any of that, Lyric also gets mail at info@creativeglobalentertainment.com.
That's right.
She's
just put attention Lyric and she will get it.
Yep. That's because she's diligently working with us and checking that email on occasion.
All right. And Lyric, what piece of advice would you give to a senior in college that is going to be graduating soon?
Yeah, for sure. So I think like I would say slow down. Like you're a senior, you obviously have the skills and the mind to be where we are now. So there's no need to stress out, like you've made it this far. Like you don't have to beat yourself up or worry about this and that, You obviously have the smarts and the effort to do this thing. There's no reason to stress. Also, give yourself credit where it's due. um Practice self-love, make time for yourself. That does not include school. Make sure you're eating. I feel like in college sometimes you forget to like feed yourself. So please eat, exercise, like I said, take care of yourself, give yourself credit, and don't stress about not graduating. Like you made it. You're smart enough to graduate, so
That's awesome.
Such good advice.
Yes, we love it. And we love you. You have been amazing with us. And we are just so excited where you are going to go and where your future is going to be. And we are going to be lifelong friends and have this working relationship forever.
yeah.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I'm never, I was thinking the other day, I think it was like, I don't even know what day, but I was like, I'll never forget this experience, like ever. Like this was my first job ever, like it's really special. I'll never forget this. So.
It's really special for us too, because with Creative Global Entertainment and podcasting, you are our first podcasting
employee.
And we're building up to be a producer. So for us, it's really special as well. That's why we will have this long lasting friendship, and we will always guide you. If you ever have any questions, we will always be there for you.
Yeah. Right. And it's really cool because like I was about your age when I was doing stuff with your dad, and now I'm about the age your dad was when he was doing stuff with me, but now I'm doing stuff with you. And so like, he poured into me as a young adult and, taught me things and helped me grow. And now I get to pass that on to his child, which is so freaking cool.
That's so cool.
That, like I said earlier, it just comes full circle. And the way the world works sometimes is really awesome because, you just get what you need from the relationships that you've cultivated over the years. And it's so great that we get to have you on our team and that our listeners get to meet you and to hear your heart and to, hear you speak. And so we're just so glad that you were able to come on the podcast today.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And it definitely, it's really cool that, like the whole, how you broke it down, with my dad and now you're teaching me, everyone who's listening, how I said, I was a child at brand practice, Jesse was there too.
Yep. With a lot longer hair.
I wouldn't know. Oh my goodness. Also, when I was getting interviewed by Melissa and Jesse, then Jesse was like, "Do you remember me?" And I'm like so nervous, you guys. And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "No, you don't." He's like,
called you out.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. Anyways, it was just really funny.
I know of you. I know your name.
She was a little kid, and when I mean little, I mean like 3 or 4 maybe. And frankly, no offense now, but you were pretty annoying back then. Always interrupting practice for one thing or another.
Okay, well, I have one more question. I know we're almost wrapping up. I have one more question though. What advice would you give to those who have never interviewed before and that are about to interview with a company?
Honestly, I would practice with yourself, which I know sounds silly because you're like, well, what am I really practicing for? But I think you really should practice like just keeping your cool and kind of think about like who you are, what represents you, your values, things that you like, where you want to be in 5 years. You should really, really think about those kind of things because more than likely, like they're going to be brought up. Really just kind of focus on those things that reside within you for sure.
Yeah. Great advice.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much, Lyric. We love you. We'll see you around the office.
Right. Love you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was great.
All right.
Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.
It's so cool getting to talk to her and like interview her when we're working with her every day. It's just really neat.
I know. I mean, we do talk to her, but most of the time it's about work, it's about getting things done, it's about training, it's about learning and growing. So it's really cool to hear the other side of Lyric and her challenges and struggles, before Creative Global Entertainment.
Yeah, and it's nice for us because we get to have the joy of watching somebody grow and be molded, and we get to watch her succeed in life, and that's just the coolest thing for me.
Oh yeah, me too, definitely.
Well, if you liked what you heard here today, do tell a friend about Reimagine Success. We find that word of mouth is the best way to get the word out about something. All of the podcasts I listen to because somebody told me about it first.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you like extra bonus content, make sure you head over to patreon.com/creativeglobal. Sign up to be one of our patrons. It's just a couple dollars a month, like a cup of coffee. You could help support us and get extra bonus content that you will enjoy. So make sure you head over there, patreon.com/creativeglobal.
And with that, this has been a Creative Global podcasting production. Did you get motivated? Do you feel inspired?
Don't worry about keeping up with the Joneses anymore, and don't forget to celebrate your successes every single day. Thank you for taking this journey with us.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Reimagine Success Pod. Email us at reimaginesuccesspod@gmail.com and let us know what your successes are. Head over to patreon.com/creativeglobal for bonus and behind the scenes content.
New episodes every Thursday at reimaginesuccesspod.com or your favorite podcast streaming platform.
So let's change our mindsets and reimagine success.